Hello, good evening. Good evening. Is it evening? Yes, 6:30. Good evening, you guys, and welcome to the live. Got my fair use disclaimer. Some material in this video is used under U.S. Copyright Fair Use Section 107 for purposes such as commentary, criticism, news reporting, and education. Today we're going to do a lot of commentary and some criticism. Good evening, Miss Living for Me. How are you doing today? Girl, it's been one of those Sundays. One of those Sundays. Woke up to some bad news, but that's all right. Life is for the living, and we're going to keep on living until God calls us home. Amen. Amen. I feel like some good old gospel music. I done put my fair use disclaimer up, so I'm going to play this one real quick before we get started with the live. Thank you so much, Grace. Good evening. Thank you for good evening.
I'm so glad I met Jesus. Met him for the first time. You've been good to me. Have you ever been to a meeting? Have your soul been converted? Have you been in the water? Have you been in the water? Have you been down? Down in Jesus' name. Have you been down? Down in Jesus' name. Said I stepped in the water, and the water was cold. Said it chilled my body, but not my soul. Said it chilled my body, but not my soul. I went down in the water, went down in the water, went down in the water, and the water came up out of me. I went down in the water, and the water came out of me. I went down in the water, and the water came out of me. As the scripture said, if you believe on me, out of your belly, I said out of your belly shall flow rivers of living water. Shall flow rivers of living water. Shall flow rivers of living water. Flow rivers of living water. I said I went down in the water. The water came out of me. Everybody clap me up.
Woo! I needed that. Woke up this morning, found out another one of my cousins had passed away, but I promise you, life is for the living. It is for the living. You know, sometimes the ones that we're expecting to go don't go, and the ones that we don't expect to go be the ones to go. But through it all, I still give God all the glory, all the honor, all the praise. I think living to be 83 years old is a good thing. So definitely giving God all the glory for 83 wonderful years that my cousin was able to live on this earth and accomplish a lot, left here and left his children a legacy that they will always remember Daddy by. When I tell you when I say he left his mark, he was a retired school teacher, master's degree in science, owns several properties. When left his children a legacy, he made sure he had things in order for his babies, and that's the way I plan on. That's what I want to do when I leave here. I want to make sure I leave a legacy, leave something that I left my stamp on this world, not a bad stamp, but a good stamp. Let's say some pleasantries. I'm gonna start over, y'all, because it's been a day. Hello, Living for Me, Symmetry, Kishore's Kitchen, Bad Girl Riri. Thank you guys so much for joining me in this live this evening. Like I said, I woke up to some bad news. I'm not hurt or dismayed because I know where all of my strength lies. We're going to talk about this show. I watched Love and Marriage Huntsville last night, season 10, episode 4, Cowboys and NDAs. Did anybody find that title kind of strange besides me? Because I found it kind of strange. Everything I'm saying today is alleged. It's in my opinion and it's for entertainment purposes only. I'm gonna say that again. Everything I am saying is alleged. It's in my opinion and it's for entertainment purposes only. Uh, we don't even know if any of this is real. Don't know if any of it is real. What's Kashara? Yummy what? What she done did? Thank you, bad girl Riri. Thank you so much. Kashara done cooked something I know she had. Did I miss the meal? Baked chicken, mashed potatoes, steamed broccoli. Was girl, stop it. I had salmon and a baked potato that I baked. And the salmon I cooked. I did a pan-seared salmon real fast and ate it up. I didn't really have an appetite, but I know I gotta eat. Then we already have DNA in the title for. We had DNA, but this NDAs. I just found that was weird. Cowboys and NDAs. They could have found something else to title this with. So, child. God bless the production company. Yeah, she did make me feel fat, right? After I get through, I'm gonna have to get me some sherbet from downstairs because I got a sweet tooth tonight. I don't know why. Anywho, let's dive on into the commentary. This episode continued where it left off last week, where Marcel and Maurice was arguing. I felt like something was cut out because Maurice goes straight into, I want you to tell me the truth. And Marcel says, I always tell you the truth. He's like, you lie a lot. So I don't know, we missed something. But I thought that was kind of weird. He said he said you could tell him the truth because you lie all the time. That's what he said. You lie all the time. And then Kimmy, it was like a big joke at the table because they were sitting around the table, and Kimmy says they were talking about Monster or Maurice Jr. And he said, well, he is golden. And then she goes, Monster, that is. And I thought, what is she talking about? When I tell you, if this is editing, that was crazy. Yeah, that was really crazy. Maurice said, wow, the golden child doesn't even have a car. What does that mean? He don't have a car, but what exactly does that mean, sir? Okay. The point is you treat your stepchild like a stepchild. His mom even says you treat him like a stepchild. When he said that, I was like, okay, Kimmy, are you gonna say something? Are you gonna defend Maurice? You're gonna defend Jalen? Are you gonna say that's not true? Kimmy said nothing. She was giggling just like everybody else was giggling. Maurice responds, I treat him just like we were raised. Marceau says we did not get treated like stepchildren. We did not. We were treated like children. And Maurice said it obviously worked. At the end of the day, I am doing this because I love you. So, child, I don't know. That conversation left me scratching my head because I didn't really like what was I know Maurice is trying to defend himself. Marceau, I'm not sure if he was trying to convey the message properly. And the women, Tisha really didn't have anything to say. She was drinking her wine. And Kimmy was giggling. She was laughing. So I'm not sure where they were going with the conversation. I'm sure it was a conversation they thought was needed. It didn't land very well. At least not on that part. Let's go see what y'all was talking about. That was crazy work. Definitely crazy work. Evidently not Maurice. Exactly. That's what I was thinking. I was like, well, apparently it didn't work. For Kimmy to agree with Jalen, she's missing something for me because that's a conversation she should have had with her husband. Uh, Maurice probably saw it himself. Exactly. And I think that's true. I want to unpack what Bad Girl Riri said. Um, she probably had that conversation with her husband. The reason why she was laughing. That's what I think. I think that Maurice may play it off. I think he may play it off or may have not taken it as seriously because, and I'll tell you why later on in the episode. We get to the conversation he had with Jalen and Marsau. I think that kind of combined my thoughts on Maurice, because I really think Maurice thinks that what he's saying is so intelligent and sound judgment and sound advice, and he comes off again as a dictator. That's just what I think. And I think that sometimes as moms of children who are remarried to fathers who are not your children's father, sometimes you oversee things or you don't see things until your children bring it to your attention and be like, do you realize that he calls me all the time? He lets him, he doesn't have to get up. So I really think that maybe it was more to it than what we can even imagine. I'm not sure. Y'all tell me in the comments what y'all think. Because I really feel like something was missing. The conversation, either they're doing this for TV, but it's something definitely about that situation just didn't seem right. She has definitely had the conversation with Maurice before. Maurice doesn't appear to be receptive to other perceptives. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. And I believe she has. Always talking about from a lawyer's perspective. Maurice, we know you're exactly living for me. We know that you are an attorney. Dude, you do not have to remind us. This is, where was I at? Kimmy in her confessional says that it gets really frustrating. It gets really frustrating to get things through to Maurice. Every now and then, the nugget comes from someone who is meaningful and he values Marsau's opinion. And I thought that kind of that may have spoke on what the real issue is that he's hard-headed, maybe bullheaded. And a lot of times men who have a patriarchal mindset, they don't listen to the woman or to women. They will hear it better from a guy than from the woman. Maurice says that is the love there. So he maybe feels like that what he's doing is love when it's not being received as love. Marsau says that he wants Maurice to understand what's at stake. What if you're missing out on some good times all because you think that you are right? Maurice said he is willing to listen, but he continues to state his case that he is not doing any of those things to Jalen. Marsau said that Maurice needs to make sure he's getting outside counsel. Did anybody notice when he said that? Or was I the only one that heard that? Marsau was sitting at that table. He said, he was sitting in a confessional. He said, I believe Maurice needs to make sure he's getting outside counsel. But then he said, he gave examples. Kimmy, myself, or Letitia. I was like, dude, outside counsel would be a counselor, a therapist. Let's see. Live for me said, I'm sure that conversation has happened. They've been getting together too long, but to have had any bumps in the road, with the kids, but we only saw the conversation Kimmy had about Monster. True. That's true. They've had a lot of bumps in the road. He said those men are so egotistical, but often logical. That's true. That's true, Bad Girl Riri. They make a lot of sense, but it's like they take a long road to, what my mom used to say, you go around Jericho to get to Jerusalem. Just go the long way around instead of going straight there. Marsau said that Maurice Oh, I already said that. He said, and then Marceau says, eat the meat and throw away the bones, man. But right now, it looks like you are throwing away the whole plate. When I say their reasoning is just like, okay, okay, whatever. Because I cannot imagine dealing with that every day. That you have to be so deep that we cannot get the smallest of things communicated to you. There's an issue with your stepson, and he has that issue with you, and it's because you are a dictator and you constantly speak to him as though you're teaching an educational class at a college or at a university or maybe even at school. And I think that that's what Jalen was trying to convey to him. It's also about the way he treats him versus the way he sees it versus him being a stepson versus I don't want to say monster, Maurice Jr. being his biological son. So, yeah, I thought that was kind of catty of him, but that conversation, I was like, wait a minute, you know how you're going back and forth? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. It was all over the place. And like I said, they went a long way around to get back to that same place. Maurice, you need to listen to what Jalen's saying. He feels like X, Y, and Z is not happening, or it is. And what are you gonna do to make him feel more comfortable? So the next scene is Ken and Trisha. They arrive at Fridro's Stars Photography Studio for her birthday photo shoot. Um, this is probably the smallest amount of notes I have through all of the notes that I took on this whole episode. Um, when they come in, if you see Trisha, she's obviously cold because she's shaking, and I believe her birthday was like in February, and she has on what was it like a um what was that? Like her shoulders were out. So I wouldn't say she had very little clothing on. She was scantily dressed on the top, and then she had on a pair of shorts. So I really believe she was cold because she was shivering when she came inside. And the theme of the photo shoot is cowboy and cowgirls. Living for Me just said something. I think that was what have had decided to pack up and wanted to leave. Yeah, you might be right. I didn't think about it like that. Yeah, you're right. That could be. It could be. Put some miles between himself and Kimmy and Maurice. That could be. I mean, it's not uncommon that children and that's okay. Because it's not uncommon that children finish college and they go off, right? Or they go off and go to college and then return home. I'm not sure if Jalen went off to college or if he went to college in the city that they live in Huntsville. So I'm not sure. And if he did go to college in Huntsville, that could be the reason why he is wanting to leave now, spread his wings. Trisha's always in a lot of nothing. I'm exactly that girl. I was like, what does she have on? It was up, the stomach was cut out. It was cute, I guess, if you like to dress that way. But she was obviously cold because she was shivering when she came through the door, and I was like, oh my God, it must be cold there. So I went to see when her birthday was, and it was in February. The hat that she had on her head, anybody else notice how that hat was like sitting way on top of the braids? It was sitting way, the cowboy hat was way on top of the braids. And I thought, girl, that's quite strange if you ask me. Trisha said it's her 38th birthday, so she's calling it the 38th special. And she wants a cowboy thing. The photo shoot to me looked very good. Their pictures were very nice. Not sure why she didn't take any photos of just herself because it was her birthday. I think when I have photo shoots for my birthday, I do photos just me. I may have some with my family in it, but primarily I do me on my photo shoots. But hey, to each his own. You notice the hat took a short. I kept thinking, man, that hat it's just sitting there. It wasn't on her head, it was just sitting there. You said Trish was just showing that body up in Europe. Hey, she got it. They said if you got it, flaunt it. I'm not mad at her. I'm not mad at her at all because she got the body. She says I said the photo should look good. Trisha says she's looking forward to celebrating her birthday with family and friends, which does not include her ex, Marquez. Why she had to add that in there, I don't know, because I wouldn't expect her ex to show up at a birthday party if he hadn't been coming. They say he hadn't been around. So if he hadn't been around, then why would you, girl, whatever. Do you, girl? Do you? Letitia was like, "This is your party. Why can't I?" Exactly. What's Ken on every picture? Whose party is it? Yours or Ken? I felt Letitia on that one. I felt her on that one. Ken says, "Oh, she states that she doesn't want him around her circle of friends anymore." Ken said he doesn't want her 38 their 38 year, because I guess he turns 38 as well. She turns 38, he turns 38, to be full of drama. He'll be glad when the divorce is over so they won't have to see Marquez again. Child, Marquez over there on the Instagram begging for forgiveness for from Carlos. I'm sorry, I won't do it no more. I won't do it no more. Bad girl Riri, baby, yes. She is definitely codependent. I was thinking the same thing. I didn't know if anybody else thought that way, so I didn't want to just throw it out there in the atmosphere. But I really think she is. I think that's the reason why she's with Ken and not trying to get a divorce. I believe that she may not function well solo. Um, so I'm not sure what that looks like. I You think Ken's about 50? Really? He has a baby face to me. He doesn't look like an older guy. He looks young. Carlos hinted he ran into Miss Mama's on his, and you know what? There's a picture on IG of them together at wherever. I think Carlos was in Atlanta or somewhere, and they took a picture together. So he must have ran into Miss Mama's out there in the streets. The next scene is Jalen, Marcel, and Maurice. They meet up at a bar. They discuss the house that Jalen is renovating. I thought that was neat. Maurice wants to be invited over to Jalen's investment, and they made it very clear that this is Jalen's investment. So I heard another content creator saying, "Oh, maybe him and Kimmy bought it," but Maurice said this is Jalen's first investment. Maurice says he doesn't want Jalen to think he's coming over to criticize his project. And Maurice clearly says this again, this is Jalen's first investment, and he doesn't want their, meaning Kimmy and Maurice's input. That's what I put a question mark. I'm not sure if he meant Kimmy and Maurice or if he just meant he didn't want Maurice's input. But it doesn't look like he wants their input. He's just doing what he wants to do. And that's a part of being independent. I'm not sure how old Jalen is. I'm sure late 20s, if not 30, probably late 20s. And Jalen, I believe, has a child now. Has had a baby since the show aired, and that's part of growing up. You do something, you have to learn how to do it on your own. Exactly. I'm sure it was probably Maurice. That's exactly what he just said. Maurice just said he didn't want their input. He added Kimmy into it, but I'm sure it was probably more he didn't want Maurice's input. Marcel says he's picking up a tone here, and I put clearly ready to get to the drama. Clearly, Marcel was ready to get to the drama, but maybe not. But they, of course, stepped right on into the drama. Marcel asked Maurice if he felt a way about not having any input into Jalen's investment property. And Jalen said that the more they talked about it, that it doesn't sound like a family business. So right there probably was an edit because there's something missing. Because he's talking about the investment property and Jalen clearly is talking about the family business. Jalen says the more they talk about it, it doesn't sound like a family investment, a family business. It sounds like a dictatorship. Jalen feels like he's at the bottom of the hierarchy in the family. And Murray said that he put Monster at the bottom. So, or last, he'd say bottom. He put him last in the hierarchy. And so he didn't understand why Jalen thought he was last. And Jalen said Monster may be last in knowledge, but not in favor and in love. And y'all, when I say that, kind of that struck a hard chord with me, like ding! Because just imagine you raise someone. I think he's been in Jalen's life since he was 12 or 13. Is that what they said? So just imagine someone being in your life since you were 12, 13 at the youngest, and or at the oldest. And that person you feel like doesn't love you, right? Or doesn't have any favor for you because you believe it could be because you're not his biological child or many other reasons. And it may not even be the case, but it's the feeling that you have. And I'm sure growing up that had to be something that hovered over Jalen's head. This is not my real dad. So do I really expect something from him versus his son being able to get it from him? I think a lot of things come into play. That really, again, it tugged at my heartstrings. I thought that's really horrible for a young person to say, especially someone that you grew up in the house with, saying, "Oh, um, I just don't feel like I was loved by you. I know my mom loved me, but I'm not sure if you love me." Yeah, that was a big pill to swallow, a very big pill to swallow. To think, and I'm sure it took him aback because I'm sure that's not what he wants. You're a part. If you love Kimi, you have to love her son. I'm sure, were a package deal. When they show pictures of Kimi and Jalen, when younger years or before Mari stepped into the picture, they're hugging and they're loving towards each other. So just imagine this is the man your mom chose, but you don't feel like he loves you or that he favors you or has any favor towards you. Marcel speaks up and he says Jalen feels like it's a double standard when it comes to Jalen and Monster. Maurice then turns to Jalen and he said he felt like that Jalen. He asked Jalen, "Do you feel that way?" And Jalen responded, "Yes." We said, "Yeah." Maurice then explains that he never wants Jalen to feel like he isn't his son or that he isn't exactly like Monster in his heart. And I think that was something he should have said last week, but I'm glad he said it this week as well. Maurice did apologize, and I think it was needed. That apology hopefully was received by Jalen, and their relationship hopefully is growing because the one thing you don't want, and I don't think anybody would want, Living for Me said too late. Girl, why is it too late? It is never too late to apologize, and it is never too late to be forgiven. It's never too late. I don't like to say it. It's not too late. Come on, it cannot be too late. Um, Jalen wants to grow in cybersecurity. They talked about that, but he also told him, he's doing real estate. He's doing cybersecurity. He was manager over what was the name of that restaurant? Black. And Jalen tells him, he said, "I accepted this position in Colorado," and he was like, oh, I think that kind of like floored them, right? But then Marcel actually congratulates Jalen, and I believe so did Maurice. But I believe that's a big pill to swallow. Your kid who's always been around. So I wonder how Kimi took that. I would have liked to have seen her reaction to him saying that he was going to be moving to Colorado. Um, Being a stepchild myself, my dad would never, and that's good to know. That's good to know. But you have to show love. Sometimes stepchildren can feel like they're not loved because you don't take up that time with them. Not saying that you don't love them, but that you're not sharing those moments with them. My dad said, "You'll never love another man's child like your own." I don't agree. That's what he told me. Bad girl Riri, and maybe that's for some people. I don't know. I don't know. There's really something to think about. There's something to ponder on when it comes down to young people and stepfathers. And some stepmoms, believe it or not, I think it probably can go both ways. All right, on to the next scene. This scene kind of gave me a little headache, but we're gonna go on and do it. Nell at her office with her daughter Kayla. They're doing daycare things, and Nell's sitting at a computer. And did so and so bring so and so? Did he sign a paper? Did child? I guess trying to say I'm busy. Blank computer. She was flipping some pages. Hopefully there was something on that paper that she was playing with. And the ghetto, exactly, bad girl Riri. The ghetto. Right? I was like, oh my god. And so let's see. The doorbell rings. And so Neil says, oh, the door, can you get that? It's probably for me. So her daughter Kayla goes and opens the door, and it's Trish. Trish is there to visit Neil. Neil says she's looking to talk to Trish to see how she feels about the dinner the other night. I said in quotations, Neil is being messy. Nell is being messy. It's so obvious that there's an issue between Nell and Tisha. There it is. When I say obvious, it is so obvious that there is an issue between the two. Girl, it be the tension be so thick between the two of them you could cut it with a knife. Tisha tries to play it off. Nell don't even try. She don't even try. Nell has an issue with Tisha. I put that in my notes. Trisha compliments Nell on her building, and I thought it was so crazy when Trisha sat down. She says, "This is what I'm talking about. You know, a building like this. You know, my gym. We don't even have brick and mortar yet." And I'm thinking, what did she says? And I like kids, so Nell was like, "So you want a daycare?" I was like, get her, girl. Just Trisha up her talking out her head, talking out her butt, rather. Talking about, oh yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Girl, do you want to be in this building? Weird. This is weird. Says what made Neil go to Trisha. I don't understand that. I don't want to talk about anybody that said their mother is related to. Girl, I know that's right. Mm. I guess we got to keep watching to see. Nell is showing her real colors. She definitely showing her real colors. Definitely showing her real colors. Mm-mm. Yep. Trisha is aligned with Neil, and she's just as lost as she could. Exactly. When I say bad girl, when I say lost, I was like, this girl is just. I think she's oblivious to what's going on. She hears part of the conversations, and then she goes into talking because just say I like this building. I would like a building similar to this for my gym. But instead she goes, oh, and I like children. So I'm thinking, where is that going? Weird, weird, weird. Let's see. Oh, I already talked about it. Nell said she's looking forward to Trisha's party. And Trisha tells her the theme is boots and dukes. And so they show the flyer. Oh, excuse me. I feel like I need to sneeze. They show the flyer, and on the flyer is a picture of Ken and Trisha, and on the bottom is Dukes and Boots or Boots and Dukes or whatever it's called. And Nell said, you know, she couldn't have all of this out. I can't have all this out, girl. And she was like, oh yeah, you need to wear a pair of shorts. You need to wear shorts. You need to wear this. And she goes, oh yeah, but I can't have all this out. Trisha says she invited everybody to the party, and then states Martell and Marquez were not invited. So she let that out to begin with. We did see Martell. Oh yeah, we did see him this episode. We did see him last episode. He did get a little short, little spot in this one. Trisha said she wants her party to be drama free. Nell said it depends on Letitia if she gets some liquid courage into her body. So Nell already had in her mind that she was going to push Letitia's buttons. She already had in her mind that she was going after Tisha Scott. I can't tell me nothing different. That's exactly how I feel about it. Let's go over these comments. Trisha said, I am transparent. All I hear is Candy saying, the lies, the lies. Girl, let's get to that one. I had to watch that twice because I couldn't do all that arguing. So I started watching it last night and I just cut it off. I cut it off. I had a lot of things, like I said, cousin passing away. I just cut it off because I was like, I can't deal with this, all this screaming and stuff. not tonight. Um, let's see. Nell says Tisha was very standoffish when she asked about the husbands. She said Tisha in turn asked Nell how she felt about it. I appreciate Trisha for saying maybe it's a touchy situation. If you notice, Trish really did not like side with Nell, side with Letitia. She just kind of stay right in the middle. Like, girl, maybe she don't want to talk about it. I think that's what she was saying. And she says Nell says a lot of minds is touchy. I guess her situations. She said, but I talk about it. And I put, like what, Nell? What are you talking about? What has Nell talked about when it comes to her situations? She has glanced over the Lance situation, Lance having a kid, but she hadn't really talked about anything. And I said, like what? Um, don't worry, we'll wait, is what I put in my notes. Because girl, we ain't heard you talk about nothing. We ain't heard you talking. If Letitia Scott ain't talking about nothing, Kimmy you ain't talking about nothing either. Ain't none of y'all talked about nothing. Ain't none of y'all transparent parents. But we're gonna keep talking. We're gonna figure out who really ain't transparent or who I feel like. Because again, this is all alleged. It's in my opinion, and it's all for entertainment, honey. We just having a good time. Because when I cut this computer off, I'm gonna go over here and mind my own business and do what I want to do right here in the confinements of my own home. So all this is just for fun. We ain't taking none of this serious. Trisha then said maybe she doesn't feel comfortable talking about it. Neil says, but you cannot go there if everyone isn't going to be transparent. Here we go. Transparent, transparent, transparent. We done heard that word about 1,700 times. Nell says Letitia wants them to share every intimate detail of their relationship when she shares nothing about hers. Nell, what have you told us about your relationship, girl? Don't worry. I'll wait. What have you told us? Nell, come here. Come here, girl. What have you told us about your relationship with old Chris? Anybody in the comment section know what Nell is talking about? Because I'm confused. Of course, they have spoken with their, they said, well, maybe they talked about it with their husbands, and because if it was me, my house walls be rattling and all this stuff. And then Nell says, of course, they spoken about it with their husbands about what Martell said on his YouTube interview. Nell says she believes they're bothered. Girl, they're bothered by you, little leprechaun. They're bothered by you. Girl, moving forward. Scene 5. Martell meets up with Miss Marlene at Eggs Up Grill. I love seeing Mama Marlene. Y'all, I'm going to tell you something. Out of all of the women on this show, I believe Marlene has been one of the most genuine. Although she, when her Mel got into it and Mel thought she was really going to teach her a lesson. Now, give me a second. Okay, I'm back. So I enjoy seeing Mama Marlene. I think Mama Marlene really brings a lot to the show. And I think she brings it in her own way. People have called her Marlboro Marlene, alcoholic Marlene. But I really enjoyed the scene of Miss Marlene and Martell. Martell said he has a great mom, that he talks to her every day. And he tell Miss Marlene that he's going to move Arion into his investment property. And Miss Marlene kind of was like, what? Like she was in shock. Then Marlene said, well, she'll love it. It's a beautiful place. And Martell says he can't move in with Arion. He can't move Arion in with him until they are married. And we know there is a court order in place that is preventing her from being in the house with him, with the children, because of the fact that they're not married. So I'm not sure how they do the stipulations as far as, I don't think it could be overnight guests, I believe is what the court order says, that they can be overnight guests. So we know that's the reason why Ariana is not moving in the house with Martell at this time. Um, Marlene then asked Martell, "Are you planning on marrying Ariane?" And Martell says, "Sure. I told you I want to get married again if she is that person." And I put, "Ninja, what?" Sure, if she's that person. Is this a storyline? Because now I want to go thump him in the head. What are you talking about, boy? Boy. Oh my God. Anyway, Martell says Ariane is a good person. He thought that Marlene would be a little more difficult with Ariane. So I guess when she first met Ariane, when they first divorced, she said she didn't want to meet Ariane or whatever. And she said it took her a minute to get used to her, but she's okay, girl, is what she said. Um, Marlene said it was an adjustment because she loved the family that she had, and they were her world until that incident happened. We all know the incident. Um, she had to adjust to the new thing with you. When she said that, I was like, okay, that new thing. The new thing, I guess, will be his relationship with Ariane. It took her a while to adjust, and at that time, she said she wasn't going to adjust. So apparently, she told Martell, "I'm not doing any of this." And I said, "Here we go with this divorce talk. Move along, please." Um, Marlene has welcomed Ariane. No, no more steps back, just forward. Marlene kind of looked very uncomfortable in this conversation. To me, she did. She kind of wasn't engaged, like she wasn't doing a whole lot of eye contact, a lot of looking down, looking around. She did very little eye contact with Martell during this conversation, so it kind of seemed a little forced. Um, Marlene said that what Martell did to Marsal was sad. And I'm glad she said that. I'm glad she spoke up because I believe if you believe something's right, you really should speak up about it. Um, back to Marlene talking about Ariane. She said, all that she went through to get you, she should be all right. She should be right because she went through a lot to get Martell, a lot. And she stuck around with Martell doing a whole lot of crazy crap. She stuck around to get with him. Um, Martell said that when he started giving back to Marsal and Tisha what they had been giving him, they calmed down. And I put at the end, boy, shut up. Shut up, boy. Let's go for these comments. Let's see. I was putting time. Okay, I'll stop. Yeah, I love her too, Bad Girl Riri. I like Marlene. I always have. I enjoyed the scene with Martell and his mom. Yes, that was a good scene. We saw where she stands, but again, that's where Martell effed up. Exactly. Yeah, yeah. She's consistent. She loves her family, and I love how she's very gentle with Martell. Exactly. And you know what? I think her being gentle with Martell, people misconstrued it as she should have um severed her relationship with her son. And that's not what you do when your children move on with their lives. Relationships sometimes don't work and divorces happen. We know that Martell may have been the cause of this, but at the end of the day, that's still her son, right? And no one's gonna stop loving their child, regardless. You're gonna love your kid, even though you dislike what they do. You still love them. You can correct them. I can correct my child, and nobody ever know but he and I, right? And I believe that's what Marlene had done for Martell. And so I like the way she parents her son. It's her son. Um, so why can Mel do it and Martell can't? Good question. Good question. Her face. Right. She was looking at him like Marlene looked sober. She looked very sober, but we all know she could probably hit him back because baby, she was tearing up that Inez wine. Right. She doesn't agree with him, but she still loves him and she wants him to be better than that pappy. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Um, so the next scene was the birthday party. This is the one I had to watch 2 or 3 times because it was getting on my nerves. And I say it was getting on my nerves. I noticed that they each started arriving to the party. Kimmy and Maurice were the first to arrive. Kimmy had on this beautiful white coat. I thought that coat was long. It was just pretty. The designs on it, a pretty, very pretty coat. And I said that when she was coming, I was like, "Oh, that coat is pretty." Maurice had on his cowboy hat. He looked like he was ready for the event. Letitia was in her Daisy Dukes, and Marsall was dressed for the occasion. Um, and Letitia, if you notice, she had on hoses, so it was cold. And if you wear pantyhose, it does keep you warm. Not only that, it also makes the color of your skin look very even and full. I saw someone else say, "Oh, she had on stockings." People don't wear stockings anymore. We don't. They don't even make stockings anymore. They make pantyhose. Stockings are some we don't even want to discuss. Stockings are thick and they're annoying. They don't make them anymore. She had on a pair of pantyhose, and people wear pantyhose for different reasons. K Michelle had on a pair of pantyhose last night on stage, and it's nothing but to make her skin look even. Beautiful skin, because you can't see it, right? So it makes the shorts with the skin, it all makes it look like it flows together. So let's not tear people apart for wearing a pair of pantyhose. That's weird. Kimmy had on a white cat suit, is what it looked like, with that vest. I thought that was cute too. She looked very, very ready for the Cowboys and or ready to go. Right, know the difference. Exactly. They don't even make stockings no more. So I don't wear stockings. Girl, people wear pantyhose for different reasons. Some people have scars on their legs. Some people have tattoos they want to cover up. And she had on a pair of shorts in the middle of February. Wear some stockings and keep yourself warm, girl. Let's see. Oh, I said Kimmy looked like she had on a cat suit, but the back was out. I thought it was cute, but she did have a vest that went over it. Hey, Queen Script, welcome to the chat. Tisha said she thought they were at Trisha's birthday party, but by judging by the pictures, it was also Ken's birthday party as well. And so she said, "This is about Trish, right?" And but baby, that was too funny to me when she said that. Too funny. You said yes, it was gorgeous. I thought it was cute too. My husband said Kimmy's that coat was when I said that coat was cute. Oh my gosh. I was like, man, I want to know where she got that coat at. Beautiful coat. Since I was wearing some under her shorts. And you know what? A lot of people do, especially in the wintertime, because they keep your legs warm. And then again, I said, K Michelle, I watched a live of her doing her concert last night, and she did the Rashida Got Bags. On that Rashida Got Bags, she has on a pair of pantyhose, sheer. They were really pretty. But K Michelle has had some surgeries, and then she has a couple of tattoos on her legs, so you couldn't even see that. It made her legs look very beautiful. So, child, I just wish people would leave the girl in her stockings alone. Leave the girl in her pantyhose alone. Trisha said, we're looking to be cool tonight and not start any drama. And then she high fives Maurice. But baby, they already been throwing back. Yeah, you know what? I like pantyhose not all the time now. I like to wear pantyhose when they go with certain outfits. But I think that pantyhose complete certain outfits. I think a pair of jean shorts and a pair of beautiful sheer stockings, pantyhose rather. Stop saying stockings. A beautiful pair of sheer pantyhose look absolutely beautiful. K Michelle had on a pair of black leather shorts with a pair of sheer pantyhose, and when I tell you, it went perfectly. She looked really beautiful last night. But it doesn't take much to make K Michelle look pretty. Chris said, Marsall says, if Chris comes, I have a question for him. Sheer or black sheer? Yeah, I like sheer. And shimmer, I said K Michelle's were sheer. They probably were shimmer because they kind of sparkle with the lights. Maurice brings up the NDA and what Chris said. Then Lance and Jalen come in. They look very, very nice. Lance looked, and all that black, he looked really nice. Jalen looked very nice. And then Chris and Nell came in. And did anybody notice how there was an eerie silence? And you could tell, I don't know why it was silent, but I don't know if maybe they did that for the effect. But I was like, the whole room just went silent when Nell and Chris walked through the room. I don't know. I think that was just something that we probably should put in the back of our reservoir. Um, Trisha looked cute in her majorette outfit. Um, but Trisha was cold. You could tell she was cold, honey. She was looking cute, but she was trying to shiver on in the room. Um, I like the 38 special theme. I think that was very clever for her to come up with. I'm not sure exactly why Ken was dressed like he was with that muscle shirt on. I'm not sure. He didn't have a cowboy hat on because maybe if he had a cowboy hat on, it would give him the cowboy theme. I think he missed the mark on his outfit. Um, yeah, Ken. I didn't care for what he had on. And I guess the music was loud because everybody was literally yelling. Everybody, Tisha was yelling, Kimmy was yelling, Nell, everybody was yelling. Kimmy asked Trish, did she like Cowboys? And she said it was a 38 special. And I just love a good I love a good theme party. You said he was a muscle black cowboy. He missed his hat. You need to put the hat on, maybe put a bandana around your neck. You need to do something. You missed that cowboy mark, baby. Cause just that cutoff shirt was not it. This dude's on the corner with a cutoff shirt on. Trust me. Where was I at? Trisha said we're going to tell Ken. Oh, Tisha. She said we're gonna go tell Ken it's your birthday. And Trish said she wanted him on her pictures because he was her black cowboy, her black chocolate. She kept every time they was like, huh? She's like, my black chocolate. And then she said, he's my chocolate emoji. He's my Megatron. That's why I said the music must have been super loud because they were yelling and nobody could hear anybody. Tisha said, what's going on with you and Ken? She felt like Trish had one foot in and one foot out. And Nell just takes over the conversation and says, Trish is ready to marry Ken. And I said, child, this mess is confusing. I don't know if either one of them are ready to get married. I'm not sure what they doing. I don't know what they doing because she not married, she not divorced. I don't know what they doing some weird stuff up there, but we're gonna pray for him. Hallelujah, amen. The men are talking to Ken. Marsal says, I thought you and Marquez were getting good. Mari says, in law, all evidence matters. Now we don't went back to law school. While we in law school, we had a birthday party. Ken is the bad guy because Marquez and Tisha and Trish are still married. And I put he had a point. He does have a point. But why are you discussing that at this girl's birthday? Why are you discussing that at this girl's birthday party? Are you okay, Marsal and Maurice? Why are you discussing that at this birthday party? You could have discussed that next episode around the corner, but I guess we got to have some drama because drama sells. And I'm just not sure why I say he has a point. I'm just not sure why he's making it at this birthday party. Ken says he feels like he's on trial when he talks to them. Ken says they are not the guys he needs to be listening to about relationships. He said they like to tag team and they repeat the same thing over and over again. They're the last two that need to speak on relationships. He said that more than once. And I thought that's crazy. And I guess they're all pinning it back to this Martell situation with the girl on YouTube, him and Ariane interviewed. I'm not sure, but I guess that's where that's coming from. I'm not sure. Tish says it stays in people's business, but if you ask her about Marsal, she becomes tied tongue. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I say yeah, but I like Tish. I'm a Tisha fan. Tisha did kind of get on my nerves on this episode, but she doesn't like to talk about Marsal. You're right about that. She don't really like to talk about the whole situation. But I believe at the end of the day, if there wasn't any infidelity, or there wasn't, she doesn't know about any of that. I don't see why she would want to discuss it. I wouldn't want to discuss it. At this point, I would be sick of someone always talking about it if they didn't have any evidence to bring to me, right? We're going to keep talking about something. We're going to keep beating this dead horse. And I don't know. I don't have any evidence. I don't have anything to point me to who it is or what happened. And I can't go bop him upside the head. I think it's just a lot that goes with it. Nothing but lies come out. She said Tisha. She didn't say Trisha. Tisha. Let's see. See, there you go. She said, I read that wrong. I respect it a bit because I'm not telling you everything about my marriage, but don't do that to others. Yeah, I guess you have a point there. It's obvious that it's a moot point. Exactly, Queen Script. It's obvious that this is not anything that's going to grow any legs, at least not with this group. And I don't think it's going to be anything that's ever going to be answered. Nell says she feels like Kimmy and Tisha aren't transparent. And this is where it got, I had to watch it twice because I wanted to hear what they were saying. They asked things about her family, her kids and grandkids. And Tisha says loudly, we do, we will. We will. I thought that was hilarious. We will. Nell then says that this is what I'm talking about. I need you to be transparent too. And nobody's talking about what is going on in y'all's life or what's going on. Now, Nell's going to keep this I put in my notes. Now, if Nell's going to keep this Marceau cheating mess going, I'm gonna exit stage left. I'm not here for this mess again. I'm not here for the repeat. I'm not here for the rinse and the repeat. Did Marceau cheat? If he cheated, let's get to it. Let's talk about it and let's move on. Let's not treat this like a Mel and Martell situation where we talk about this divorce for 8-9 seasons. I am sick of this. We've got to move forward with some other things versus someone's relationship or whatever y'all want to do with this relationship. Tisha and Marceau did an IG Live and said they were not going to allow anybody to write their story this year. They were going to write their own story. Or this season. So since they said that, they're sticking by their guns. No one else is going to dictate to them what they say, how they say it. And that's just that. We know Tisha just going to say whatever she feel like whenever she want to. But we also know Tisha had a little bit of libations. So she was, she was down for whatever at that moment. Kimmy asks, what's not transparent? Nell responds with, like the Martell interview. That's all she keeps saying, the Martell interview. Kimmy says, I didn't watch the whole interview. Kimmy said, so me not watching, is that me not being transparent because I said I didn't watch the whole interview? Tisha said she didn't watch any of it. Tisha said, so I'm not being transparent because I'm not talking about what you want me to talk about. And honestly, I respect that, right? I when I say I totally respect that, because that's what it seemed like when Nell threw that out there. Like, I'm not being transparent because I didn't discuss this interview that I didn't watch, or I'd only watched part of it, or the very fact that I'm not talking about it because you want me to talk about it. Because we all know that Nell has not really talked about anything. She's really went around circles, even with Lance, with the baby, all of that. When it comes to these girls, when even they mention it, she did not really discuss it. She kind of went around the circle. Kimmy says loudly, tell me what you want me to talk about. That's why I said the music was loud, because she just screams it. Tell me what you want me to talk about? Do you think our husbands are cheating and we don't want to talk about it? And Nell says, no, I didn't say your husband is cheating. Nell says, I asked the question because you blew me off so quickly. And Tisha responds, it's because it's some BS. Tisha said, I am very transparent about my life. If I dealt with infidelity in my marriage, I would have addressed it and what I did to get past it. But what I am not going to do is address something that I have not dealt with just to please you or to make people feel like I should address it. And Nell says she feels like you just blew it off. And Tisha says, Nell, you are not transparent about your husband's infidelity. And Nell says she was going to address it, but Marsal shut it down. When they were at that table, and Tisha said, y'all, have you ever dealt with infidelity? And Nell did not address it. She did not address that. So although Tisha asked about it, it still wasn't addressed, right? So although Nell is asking about this, it's probably not going to be addressed. Tisha's not going to address it. Nell says Letitia is deflecting. Kimmy says for them to move forward in friendships, they have to feel like they're being transparent. You can't build a friendship on non-trust. Tisha says, now, Trisha, let's not talk about transparent here. And they show last season's fiasco between Trisha and Martell, where she changed the story over and over. She had never met Martell before, or she had met him, and she had never been in his house, and she had been in his house, and Trisha's the last person who should be talking about transparency when we can't get this. Was you with Martell? Were you not with Martell? Girl, what's the story? What's tea? Tell us what tea is. And so the guys are over in the little corner and they're talking about boundaries, and then they address the rumors about the NDAs. What do you think that the NDA is going poor Trisha. Right. Poor Trisha, she ain't gonna win. She just eat her buns and drink a little liquor and be happy because baby, she's not gonna win. The guys are talking about the NDAs, and Marcel says, "Do you think NDA is gonna stop people from talking?" And that's the point, because the NDA really is a piece of paper, and it's only enforced if you take it to a court of law and sue someone, and then it could be all over the world by then. So again, this is what Marcel says. Then Chris denies that he said anything about them signing that they were the ones who said it, and but it's all on camera. So Chris over here making up this story. Chris said, if you're talking about lawyer talk, then maybe you should talk to Maurice or Marcel. Chris is also a guy who couldn't decide if he and Trisha were cousins or not. So another point, Chris is not transparent. So we're going to talk about transparency. We're going to have to line everybody up, and we're going to have to start pointing fingers. We just cannot say Tisha's not being transparent, Kimmy's not being transparent, because Nell, what exactly do you want from them? And when Kimmy asked her point blank, she said, I want to know about you. I want to hear your point on the Martell interview. And girl, I didn't watch it. What do you want me to tell you about it? I didn't watch the foolishness. Again, crazy. Tisha started waving her hands and trying to talk to Chris about the NDA comment after let's go on back. No one can give an example of what they mean by transparency, right? And so Nell tells Letitia Scott, to go ask Chris. She tells her, go ask Chris. And so Tisha goes over there. Oh, let's go. She gets up and goes over there, and she's wearing you, and Chris when you, and Chris when you, and start waving her hand, trying to talk to Chris about the NDA comment. Nell interrupts and stops Tisha and says, Chris says, I don't report to you, Letitia. You may not report to Letitia, but Letitia is over trying to get some information out of you, buddy. So Nell said her husband doesn't have to answer to anyone but her. Girl, you just told Tisha to ask him. So you make up your mind what you want to do. Do you want her to ask him or do you not? Because she don't have to answer to anybody, but he only has to answer to me. Girl, which one? Do he answer to you? He answer to who he answering to? Y'all are confusing to me. Him and his lies. Let's see. Marcel, did I put in my notes? Marcel don't piss me off in this confessional talking about Letitia has a habit of walking up to other men and treating them like husbands. What do you mean? What are you talking about, boy? That don't even make sense. I said, what the F does that mean, Marcel? And Marcel stops Letitia and said, I'm on it. you ain't on a tata. You ain't on a tata. Cause you over here giggling with Chris while he lying. Let's see. He did like Queen Script. Chris said right there on national TV and flat out lied and said that he never said that about the NDA. It's film, buddy. You said it. Did I miss where I'm at? Oh. I've always questioned Chris's behavior. He gives sneaky link vibes all day. I said the same thing, bad girl Riri. When I say, every time I look at Chris, I'm like, I wonder how many women he got following him. Because, baby, Chris is keeping himself up for a reason. Chris is not a young man. But Chris makes sure he's tapered and hair waved every time you see him. Symmetry, she sure did symmetry. She sure did. She sure did tell her to run over there. You run over there. You go ask him. Then when she went to ask him, you say he don't answer to nobody. She didn't make the comment to a man either. Let's remember who he made the comment to. Exactly. The crazy part is that Nell started all this mess, right? She started this transparency. She has some type of vendetta out for Letitia Scott. I don't know what it is. Hopefully we'll get to it and find out what the issue is, because baby, right now it's giving confusion. She did that to start. I believe it. Because are you putting on for the camera? What are you doing? What are you doing, girl? Because you just sat right here and said that she could go ask him, then she go ask him. You tell her he don't answer to nobody. Girl, what is it? Is he answering to people or not? I'm confused. With that liquid courage. Oh, yeah, she has some liquid courage. But that liquid courage had her right there with that. You said. I wouldn't allow my girlfriend to put her hands in my man's face either. It was disrespectful. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. But I don't know. It could have been handled a lot better. It could have been handled a lot better. Yes, girl, he whispered in her ear. I was like, take her home. She ready for bed. Take her home so she can rest. She was tired. I believe Nell is trying to pick up the mantle of someone else's issues with it. I agree. That's kind of what I summarized my little papers to say. I believe Nell is trying to pick up someone else's issue. I totally agree with that. When I say I agree with 100%, I believe she feels like she has to hold that part down. Maybe it's because of the picture with her and Arion, because she's still cool with Martell. Who knows? Who knows what it is? Or maybe she promised her if she stayed on the show, this is what she would do. I don't know. But I totally agree with that. It was hilarious. It was what you said. What you said, baby. I cannot get that out of my head. Letitia Scott. Let me tell you something. Letitia Scott is holding her own. I don't care what nobody say. She's holding her own. No one on that show. Good evening, Satin Baby Doll. No one on that show is being transparent. And let's be honest about it. No one on that show is being no more transparent than the other one is. You have Letitia Scott. She talks about whatever she talks about, her family, whatever. Kimmy talking about her family, showing us what she's doing. That's what she's doing. Nell is showing us the same thing. When they get together, they sit around and they talk. When they asked her about Lance having a baby, that's not Nell's relationship, right? That's her grandchild, which is, they've showed Lance on the show. So you might as well say Lance could be a friend of the show, right? So why not just say, oh, he had a baby, whatever, and move on? But instead, oh, you asked me questions about my family and I'm transparent. What are you transparent about? You said very little about Lance having this baby when they asked you, you were trying to put Destiny together with him and he had a baby coming and you didn't know. Girl, whoo, Nell is sad baby daughter. Nell is beyond messy. She a whole nother side of messy. I think Nell was sent there to cause a ruckus. And I'm not sure if Nell's gonna be a good fit. I believe she's trying to team up with Latricia to go against Kimmy and Letitia. And I don't think it's gonna work for her. That's just my personal opinion. But I don't think that her teaming up with Letitia is weak. Latricia is weak. She's probably the weakest woman on this group, right? So you teaming up with her to go against Tisha and Kimmy Scott. Girl, sit down, please. I just want to know, can we bring it? Exactly. When is Ariane coming to the stage? Because at this point, we sick of Neil. We need someone else. You missed the nun roast earlier, right? The nun roast. I want to see Ariane too. Let's show her. Let's get her on the TV screen. Show her. Let's talk about it. Let's ask her some questions. Maybe she'll answer them. Maybe she won't. But I think she will. The way she got on Instagram and told all her business, I think she'll get on that TV and tell all her business. I am too sad, baby daughter. I just said that. I literally just said that in my notes. I put, if Nell is going to, if we're going to start talking about this Marcel infidelity again, I'm going to check out. I'm going to exit because I don't want to listen to that again. I think that is so redundant. It is stupid. And no one wants it in all these years. And I'm going to say this, women we are some of the most cattiest people on earth. And I love my girlfriends and my friends, but we can be really catty, right? We play the I'm going to get you back game real well. You mean to tell me it is women out here who have been with Marcel and none of them want to tell Tisha? None of them. Nobody's paid them any money to do it. Get out of here. I don't, whatever. I'm sick of it. Tisha caught hell when she was quiet and catching hell when she stands up for herself and her family. Damn this shit. I agree with that 100% symmetry. 100%. It was a scheme set up by Todd to live for me. You better believe it. People call Tisha weak when she shows that she's not. It's a problem. Exactly. Now you have an issue. And when she, I think Nell thought she was going to punk Tisha at that table because she said, you asked me about my grandchild and you expect me, and Tisha was like, we will. When I tell you I was laughing so hard, we will. I think Destiny and Tisha may fall out. I hope not. Oh my God, I hope not. I love them as friends, but I hope they don't fall out. I know they've had some issues before, but I noticed that when on the next episode, it looks like when Destiny starts talking about Martell, Tisha just walks off. And I think that's probably a good response because you don't want to be in the middle of that drama that they had. Exactly, not Todd. Yeah, it may be a disagreement. I hope it's not a fallout. I really think that Destiny needs these women on the show to stay cohesive so she can stay on here. And because as of now, she really only has Martell to film with. So just imagine if she doesn't have anybody, because I believe right now Tisha and Kimmy are going to be an alliance. Period. I think they're going to stay in alliance, and I think that's probably best for them because it seems as though Nell is trying to grab her somebody to be in alliance with, and I don't like that. Kind of reminds me of Real Housewives of Atlanta where they had the talls and the smalls. I always hated that. Tisha can't win at all. Queen Script. She can't win with these people. I'm over them. I think we all are symmetry. I'm over these conversations. You hadn't brought us in 10 seasons. You haven't brought us any concrete information. And then Martell does something on a YouTube video that half of us didn't even believe. So, nah, over it. Me too. Not my husband, not my concern. Exactly. The way these helpers like to claim someone else's man, they should have already told. Exactly. That's what I said. Women can be catty, so I'm not sure who's paying them to stay quiet. And Marcel said NDAs don't work, so who knows what's going on with this mess. She had Miss Wanda coming out, baby. I think that was Miss Wanda times two. Cause when I say I was laughing at Letitia when she said, "We will, we will, we're gonna keep asking what you gonna do about it. What you gonna do about it? Let's go ask Chris." Okay, let's go. She jumps down and goes over there. Quit daring these people. Quit daring these people because they're gonna do what you think they're not gonna do. Carlos gonna wait until the next to last show for us to know if Neil gets wet. What do you mean? Did I miss something in one of the previews? Shoot, douse her with some water now. Cool her ass off. Shit. It was nice to see. Yes, Queen Script. We talked about Miss Marlene. I really love seeing Miss Marlene on this show. I think she is a genuine mom who cares and has tried to make every effort to be a good mom. And I think she's another one that's damned if she do and damned if she don't, because we've watched how this love and marriage sector has treated her over the years, how they've talked about her when her and when Martell and Melanie broke up. And I really believe that bothered Miss Marlene. We saw her cry on TV. We also saw Mel disrespect her on TV too. We saw Mel block her. And then when they sat down to talk about it, Mel said, "I'm gonna unblock you." She said, keep me blocked. Baby, yes. Keep me, don't unblock me ever. Don't ever unblock me. I don't know why production chose to air that story about Ari and Tell when social media already produced it. We didn't believe it. Exactly. We're not even falling for it now. Because think about it. Nell is saying you're not being transparent, transparent. But you want her to be transparent about something that she don't really have nothing to do with. Martell and Ariana are the one who made that video. So get them on here to be transparent about what they did. Only thing Letitia can be transparent about is what her and Marceau got going on. She can't be transparent about nothing Ariana and Martell did. When Nell and Kimmy get to arguing, and Kimmy said, "I'm gonna give." Yes, baby, take her and baptize her in the name of the Father, the Son, and all of the Holy Ghosts, honey. Get her all of them. That was the dumbest live mark. Yes, because just we saw this lady sitting on stage. I don't even want to go into her aesthetics, but it was very unlikely that what she was saying was true, right? It was super unlikely that Marceau has been with this woman, wants to be with this woman, has any desire to be with this woman. You guys, I saw this on Letitia's page the other day, and I just grabbed it. They're having a Greek fest, and the special guest is going to be Marcel and Letitia Scott. It's going to be in Columbus, Georgia, on September the 20th. I don't live in Georgia. I have a friend who lives in Columbus, so I might be able to sneak down there and hang out, but I don't think September will be a good month for me. I got a lot going on. But if y'all are going, I want to go, here's a flyer. I saw this. This isn't being paid by anybody to do it. I just saw it and thought I would share it. What'd you say? Looking like a can. I said I wasn't gonna talk about nobody's appearance now. I said I was gonna be nice and kind. All right, live for me. You said it. Looking like a can of busted biscuits. Didn't True T make a rap song about some busted biscuits, girl? Cha. Oh yeah, this album is on sales for $12.99. I think it was 12, maybe $20.99. Y'all get your this album now. Anywho, child, I'm out of that bull crap too. And you guys, please like, share, subscribe. I appreciate you guys for coming to the live, hanging out with me on a Sunday evening. And again, that Letitia, they're going to be the special guest in Columbus, Georgia at that Greek fest. They're inviting all Greeks, Masons I saw on there, Eastern Stars. They're trying to get everybody out that they can to come join them at that Greek Fest in Columbus, Georgia. You can find it on Letitia Scott's page. I found it. It was, I think, in her stories. If it's not in the stories, it's on the page. But you can definitely see it over there. And I'm going to end this live with what I started it with.
Do you know there's
y'all. I see you guys later. If no one told you today they love you, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Y'all have a great night. Have a great start to a great week next week.
Yes, sir. Oh, after me. Oh, me. Gonna be a good time. There is gonna be singing. There's gonna be dancing. I remember when I went to a meeting. Said he changed my talk. Said he changed my